I know that humanity is not living in balance with nature. It's not happening. Humanity is actually, at this point, almost going against nature. It's beyond living out of balance. But I also think with humanity going against nature, that there's a small percentage, a small number of human beings that are behind this and driving it and imposing it upon just humanity in general. It reduces the opportunities for human beings to continue to participate in the evolutionary reality indefinitely. It's bringing a definite conclusion to the ability of the human beings to participate in this evolutionary reality, because it's going against nature or the earth. Actually, in actual terms, what the industrial man is doing is murdering the life support systems, murdering the water, the air, murdering the life that gives us the ability to have life. And that's really what we're faced with. We can call it poisoning the water or whatever, but in the end, it's like an act of murder, genocide in a way. Well, I think as human beings, we live in a technologic, perceptional, actual reality, where a part of that technologic reality is that the civilizing processes, it erases the memory of the human being. It erases the memory from the human being of being a human being. It's almost like a severing of our connection to any spiritual reality. And once that has been imprinted into the consciousness of the human beings, then I think that's what makes these other things possible. It isn't that as human beings, we're bad. It's got nothing to do with our badness. What it has to do is that there's a program going on that literally feeds off of the being part of human, eating our spirit. All right? And in order for all that to happen, then these imprinting things have to happen to our consciousness, and a part of that is to erase the memory of the human being about being a human being. See, so we no longer participate in reality, perceiving reality as human beings. We participate in reality as feeling as either like oppressed culturally, ethnically, gender-wise, class-wise, but we participate in reality from the eyes of being victimized and very fearful and insecure. We don't think like human beings, but the reason for that is because there's been a deliberate suppression of our memory of that identity. But on this planet, there's an industrial ruling class. And this industrial ruling class is the smallest percentage of human beings on this planet. And this industrial ruling class, the governments that are created to serve the needs of this industrial ruling class. And one of the needs of this industrial ruling class is they create these governments and to some degree these religions, all right, and these economic systems as a way of controlling the mass of human beings that they're feeding off. What's the percentage of people that own 60% of the resources on this planet? Then we're starting to get to who they are. And I don't know, I'm not going to call it deprogram ourselves. To me, it's really an issue of how do we recognize ourselves. We need to recognize that we're human beings. Recognize that we're human beings, and our connection to the reality of power is in that identity. Human. Our bone, flesh, and blood. Our DNA, we're literally made up of the metals, minerals, and liquids of the earth. We're part of the earth. We're shapes of the earth, like everything of the earth. And we have being, our spirit. And that being comes from our relationship to the sun-sky universe. Because, sunlight's literally like the sperm that brings life to the water-bearing womb that is the earth. So our being is connected to that. And all things of the earth have being, because we're all made up the same stuff, just arranged differently, have the same relationship to the sun-sky universe. The reality of our relationship to power and purpose, so to speak, is in that identity. And now, so how do we recognize and get back to that identity? I don't have a specific answer. But the closest I can say to it is that if we would, a part of recognizing of ourselves is that to recognize our intelligence, and understand the value of our intelligence. Because as human beings, our ability to access the reality of our power is through clear and coherent use of our intelligence. See, our intelligence, that's the portal how we manifest and access our relationship into the reality of power as humans, is through the use of our intelligence. But we've been imprinted and programmed, basically where we're at now in the evolution of human beings, we're basically in a period of time in this industrial technologic world where the majority of the human beings participate in this reality based upon their fears and their doubts and insecurities, so their perception of their inabilities. See, all that was imprinted in there to make us not recognize ourselves. And to understand the power and recognize the power of our intelligence is, let's say, through our fears and our doubts and our insecurities, how bad can we make ourselves feel? And how does that affect the people around us? Well, that's power. That's our power. That's a manifestation of our personal power. But we've been imprinted to use it in this kind of a way. But so we do have power. It's in how we recognize it and choose to direct it and use it. So I would say the first step to this is recognize the value of our intelligence and the power of our intelligence. Because I think that any person or people that would be concerned about saving the earth and saving creation and have this type of an awareness, I think that a necessary component to that is to give thanks to however one perceives the Creator, give thanks to the Creator, number one, for life, and number two, for the gift of intelligence. To show respect for this, maybe because we need to show respect to our intelligence, and maybe it's a part of our thanks that we give on a daily basis, in a ritualistic way. Our intelligence, to me, it's like our imagination, our creativity, our thoughts, and then our understanding or misunderstanding, and then our actions is what we manifest. And I think that it's time for us to understand, look at, recognize, and attempt to understand the value of our intelligence, because whatever struggle is ahead of us, if we are to continue to participate in the evolutionary reality as human beings, it's going to take clear and coherent use of our intelligence to do it. Generationally, collectively, individually, but that's what it is going to take. Everything that has ever been done to create these emotional distortions in us has been done to keep us from using our intelligence clearly and coherently. How do we deprogram or get back? It goes back to the very basic. We need to recognize ourselves. We really need to recognize ourselves. Then we can synchronize all the other things in a much more synchronized way. In the race to midnight, it's after 11. And what can be done about it, it's not that nothing can be done about it. But again, this comes back to how clearly and coherently we use our intelligence. Because I think that, number one, there's no revolutionary solution to anything that we're dealing with. There may be revolutionary stopgaps, but there's no revolutionary solution. It's about, we're a part of evolution. It's an evolutionary reality, so there's an evolutionary solution. I think to head into the direction of this thing, this bad that is coming, but it's going to take clear and coherent use of our intelligence to think our way through this, not to emotionally react to the bad guys, because we emotionally react, we end up doing the same old stuff over and over again, and the bad guys just get badder and badder. That seems to be a historical reality. But also a part of that historical reality is that every rebellion that goes on, our cause may be just and right and all of the good, all the pretty flag stuff, right? But in reality, in every situation, we were emotionally reacting by trying to challenge their ways by their rules. We weren't thinking outside of the box. But we've been programmed not to think outside the box because we've been programmed not to like ourselves and be insecure and this and that, so not trust certain abilities that we have. To be as clear and coherent as we can, not emotional reactionaryism, but clear, coherent, responsible, initiated response to what is going on. They need to purge this planet of huge, tremendous numbers of the human population, and they're going to do it. Right? That's what they're setting it all in motion now. See, so that's where it's headed, and this is why, to me, it's very crucial Because I don't think that time is against us. Time is an ally. The real issue is, are we time's ally? Will we take the responsibility to use our intelligence clearly and coherently? Not be overwhelmed by the idea or say, how do I do that? But just head in that direction. Because when you get to the realities of power, the illusions, authority as an illusion of power, the state and all this and that, all right, then we're always outnumbered there. But if you look at the reality of power, and say the reality of power is in clear, conscientious thought, clear and coherent thought, then we outnumber them. It's just a matter of us getting to that point where we recognize our own value. We're in a system that has devalued us, and the trick of the devaluing was it got us to devalue ourselves. And I think it's a spiritual responsibility. Use your intelligence clearly and coherently. Think.